Kia ora Cody kids, and welcome back to another series of Cody Literacy Learning. This week we're going to be learning all about recounts. Now I know what you're thinking, we have to do recounts again? Every year our teachers make us do recounts. You're not wrong, because recounts are probably one of the easiest forms of writing that we can do. However, throughout this week we are going to be analysing and observing each of recounts so that you can go away and create your very own detailed recount. So get comfy, grab your pen, grab your paper, and get ready for some learning. Good guys. Right, week 7 recounts, episode 1. This week we're going to be learning all about recounts, guys. So we're going to be looking at 3 different things. 1, what is the purpose of a recount? Right. We're also going to be looking at the structure of a recount and how recounts are written. And we're also going to be looking at different language features that authors and writers use within a recount to make it interesting and engaging. Right? So things like action verbs, past tense words, and more. So today's focus is all about author's purpose. There's 3 different ways that an author or a writer will grab your attention. The first way is that they can write to persuade you. The author will write to change your mind or help you form an opinion. You might find these in newspaper articles, magazine articles, advertisements, commercials, or debate writing. And the purpose is to reinforce what you already believe or to change your mind about what you believe. The second way an author tries to grab your attention, so another purpose, is to inform you. They write to teach you about something new or give you information about a new topic. These can be things like newspaper and magazine articles as well. Non-fiction books or biographies and autobiographies. And the purpose of these is to give you new information or to be able to answer a question about a topic. Finally, author's purpose can be to entertain. The author might write something to grab your attention, for entertainment, for enjoyment. So things like fairy tales, tall tales, fiction stories, or poetry. And the purpose of these is basically for a bit of fun, enjoyment, and get you excited to be reading. Let's have a look at some example. Well, Walt for today. Identify and understand the purpose, structure, and language features of a recount. And remember, today we're just focusing on the author's purpose. Questions we're going to be looking at today. What is the author trying to achieve within this text here? So what is their purpose? Are they trying to persuade us, give us information, or entertain us? And the second question, how do we know what the author's purpose is? So if we think that they're trying to persuade us, how do we know that that's what their purpose is? What do they do in their text to make us think this? Task. I want you to stop here and copy the Walt and the questions into your books now. Cool. Now I want you to read the recount here with me. And then we're going to try and answer the 2 questions above. Remember, we're trying to identify what the author's purpose is as we read. Right, so are they trying to persuade us? Are they giving us lots of information? Or are they trying to entertain us? The solar eclipse. Last Friday, my 4 friends and I rode our bikes down to the lighthouse to watch the solar eclipse. We didn't want holes burnt in our eyeballs, so we took a solar projector we had made out of cardboard and aluminium foil. That way, we wouldn't have to look directly at the eclipse. We arrived at 10 a.m. and it seemed like half the town was already there, as well as a heap of people we'd never seen before. Some of the strangers had a lot of fancy equipment with them. They certainly didn't try to keep the smiles off their faces when we took out our solar projector. After setting up our gear, we found a flat rock to lie on and just wait. I had packed some salt and vinegar chips, some rice crackers, and a couple of packets of snakes so we could pig out while we waited. About an hour later, someone yelled out, "Contact!" We crowded around our homemade screen, waiting for the eclipse. And waiting, and waiting. I hadn't expected it would take so long for anything to happen. As time went on, the light began to fade, and everything around us lost its sparkle. It was awesome and creepy together as the world's bright colours went dull and the air began to chill. Even the seagulls stopped squawking and gliding quietly into land, as if they were too frightened to stay in the air. An hour and a half after it started, the eclipse was total. The sun was just a dirty brownish orange halo in the muddy sky. The hush was total. No one moved and no one spoke. It had got much colder now, too. The temperature had dropped to just 9 degrees Celsius, and I wished I'd brought something warmer to wear. That could have been because I was really cold, or because I was spooked, or maybe both. Then a sparkling diamond of light flared on the sun, and the eclipse began to recede at that same slow pace. By 2 p.m, the eclipse was completely over. The temperature had risen and the colours were back in the world. It was an awesome day I will never forget. So the first question, what is the author trying to achieve within this text? What is their purpose? So they're trying to persuade, inform, or entertain us. And the second question, how do we know what the author's purpose is? So what do they do in the text to make us think this? Well, let's have a look. The author gives us lots of information about what they're doing, about a solar eclipse and what happens during it. They tell us lots of things around like what the boys pack to eat, how there's other people around. It's a lot of information and detail about the event. Do they try to persuade us at all to think a certain way? No. So it's definitely not a persuasive piece of writing. So most recounts are either informative or entertaining or both. In this one, I think the author's purpose is to try to inform us and entertain us, because they use lots of interesting adjectives and vocabulary to make it really entertaining. That's how we know what the author's purpose is, because they use words like a dirty brownish orange halo in the muddy sky, or then a sparkling diamond of light flared on the sun. They make it really interesting while giving lots of detailed information around the whole event. At the end of that, what's the author trying to achieve within this text? What is their purpose? Their purpose is to inform and entertain us. How do we know what the author's purpose is? What do they do in the text to make us think this? Well, we know this because they give us lots of information and facts. It's really detailed about the event, and they use lots of interesting adjectives to make it entertaining. So let's have a look, recap what we've learned about the purpose, or the author's purpose of a recount, and what it is. The purpose of a recount is to retell what happened or an event that happened. It gives lots of facts and information about an event. It can be entertaining by using interesting adjectives. Is written either first person, so about yourself, using words like I, me, my, we, or third person, so about someone else. So for example, they did this and he went there, or him, her, Mr. Lewis. Examples include diary writing, newspaper and magazine articles, books, biographies, and autobiographies. So task, I want you to pause it here, copy down the notes above, and then continue to read the recount story coming up next. Can you see what the purpose of this text is and what the author is trying to achieve? Ka pai tō mahi. Well done. Tune in tomorrow for episode 2, where we're going to be looking at the structure of a recount.